Hello, good afternoon, it's Two Shot Cowboy here, and we are in Flight Simulator. Welcome back to the channel for anyone who's been on the channel before and watching any of my other videos, and welcome if you're new and you're just checking us out because we are now doing videos of Flight Simulator. So today we're going to do a very straightforward flight. We're going to fly the Daher TBM 930, which is a single engine prop plane, turboprop in fact, and therefore very important. It's like a mini airliner really. It's got a jet turboprop engine, turbine engine, and it's pressurised. It could go quite high and quite fast for a small single engine plane. So we're going to fly from Nassau in the Bahamas to now if I can find the airport, Miami Opa Locka Executice Airport in Miami. So we should get some nice views of Miami as we come in. So we're going to just choose Lyndon Pindling International Airport in Nassau, and we're going to zoom to details, and that will allow us to see the parking positions. And we're going to choose a parking. We'll have ramp 23, we'll set that as our departure, and then we're going to go to Opa Locka here. So Miami Opa Locka Executice, again we will zoom to details, and that will show us where we can park. So let's just choose ramp 26 and we'll set that as arrival. There we go. We've got a 30-minute flight there, 161 nautical miles, but we're not going to fly VFR, we're going to fly IFR. So for those who don't know, there are two different ways of flying in normal commercial aviation and private aviation, one of which is VFR, so visual flight rules, and the other one is IFR, or instrument flight rules. And the difference basically is, in order to fly visual flight rules, you have to fly in visual conditions. So you have to be able to see the ground and places that you need to use as reference points. In IFR, you can go into cloud, above cloud, and fly through weather which will prevent you from seeing otherwise where you were going. IFR also helps us to integrate better into air traffic control, so when we approach Miami it will make life a little bit easier for us to get into Miami. So I'm going to ask for a route there with low altitude airways, and that's given us a route which is not too bad, still about 169 miles. And if I just have a look at the navlog here, you'll see that it's given us cruise altitude of 6,000. Well, we're not going to fly at 6,000, so I'm just going to change that. I can. No, I can't. I'm going to put 16,000 feet in as our cruise altitude there. I press enter and just turn the navlog off. So that's basically what it's given us, and then we're going to ask for a departure. And we'll just have a look what departures are available from here. So Ingra probably not worth us doing, and this one will take us to Nico, so that's probably not really worth us doing. And Freddy, I think he's going to be down to the south again as well. So again, neither of those instrument departures. Let's just have a little look at high altitude and see what it's giving us. Giving us a similar thing, and again, none of these are really particularly useful departures. I mean, this one will bring us round to Ingra, but we don't really want to go. If we're taking off in this direction, we don't really want to go to Ingra, so we'll just stick with our direct departure, which is a little bit unrealistic, but at least it means we don't have to mess about going too far. And then in Opa Locka we're going to see what we've got. We've got a Decal 5, have we? Yeah, we've got a Decal 5 arrival, so it's bringing us in at Decal 5. And then our approach automatic, we don't know which runway is in use at the moment, so 189 at 6 knots, So yeah, that would mean runway 270 would be okay, I guess. So maybe we do put ILS 27 in, and we'll see what we get. That looks like it's just taken off, and 179 knots. Yeah, that's just taken off from OPF. So it must have taken off on. It hasn't taken off on 27, so maybe we change to ILS 12. Let me see what. That's going to mean we have to go all the way around there. We can do our nav. Let's try ILS for 9 left. Yeah, so we're putting approach ILS for 9 left, and we'll see what we get then. Should be alright with the 6 knot crosswind, then that should be fine. In fact, I'm just going to turn it back to automatic approach, and I'll see what air traffic control gives us. So we're all set up. We're going to go to the Bahamas now and find our aircraft. So, are you using Flight Simulator? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you have any questions? Happy to answer them. So, I've been doing Flight Simulator since I was about, since I was quite young, probably 25 years. I've been doing Flight Simulator in various different formats, all the way up to prepared 3D. And now the new Flight Simulators come along, and I have to say, I'm a big fan. I do think it is one of the best flight simulators that I've ever seen. At the moment it's brand new, so there's a few little glitchy bits, but you can just see from these pictures here the quality of the graphics. Certainly for VFR flight, there hasn't really been that much as good as this, certainly not included with Flight Simulator from the start. Well, it's never been as good as this. So there you can see our aircraft, which is the Daher TBM 930, sorry. 930 horsepower, single turbine turboprop engine, and we'll jump in and we'll fly. So let's go. So when you start at a gate in Flight Simulator, the way I fly anyway, you start with the engine and the aircraft in a cold and dark condition. Now, if you don't know what to do from this point, then you can use the checklist. So you can go up here to this little menu and you can choose the checklist, and it will give you a guided tour of starting up the aircraft. So we can do that now. Exterior lights off, internal lights off, crash lever is down, so the crash lever is this little thing here. Starter off. So before starting, engine crash lever up. And we do source, battery or GPU. So we're going to do source to battery. And our power comes on.
Clearance delivery Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf.
What I'm going to just do though is I'm just going to, at the moment I've got my AI managing the air radio comm, so I'm just going to turn that off so it waits until we're ready for that to happen. So our crash lever is up. Source, battery or DTU we've done. Generator on main, so we set, we'll do that again. Set to main generator, so that's all good. DI system lights test. I have no idea where DI system lights test is, so if I click this little I button it tells me where it is, and I can do that. So I'm just going to do that. There we go, we've done that. Tick item. Landing gear lights check and test, so I guess this is the light test here. There we go. Tick item. Fuel on board, check. So let's check how much fuel we have on board.
TOS system test, okay.
And we can do that here on the display. It's even highlighting it for us. So we've got 73 gallons on board, which is about half. It'll be plenty for today's flight. We probably wouldn't take this much, although on some of these small turboprops you can just take off with full fuel at most of the time and you'll be absolutely fine, unless you're going very high and very long distance and you need to have the exact right amount of fuel for weather purposes. But generally you can fly with full fuel and you'll be absolutely fine. You might burn a little extra fuel, so you might not want to, but 73 US gallons will be fine for us today. So we'll tick that box and we'll move to engine start. Just before we do that, we'll recenter ourselves on the aircraft. So aux boost pump is on. So we go up here and we'll find the aux boost pump. And then we'll tick that. We'll check the propeller area is clear. We are clear. Mr. Pushback is there and we can't move him, so there's nothing we can do about that. So starter, we've turned the starter on for 2 seconds and then off. 1, 2, off. Done. And then the throttle we set low idle when we're at 13% NG. So what we'll do is we'll look in here and we'll look at the NG 13%, there we go. And now we've got the throttle to low idle there. And our engine is started up. So now what we need to do is find... I think we've missed an item there. No, it's on auto, we're alright. So we've done that. And then... Oh, this was very awkward. This is... So ITT, we're going to be fine with our ITT because I don't know that hot starts are modelled. And they're certainly not turned on if they are, so let's just have a look at that. That's our exhaust temperature, and where if we're going to 870, oh, our ITT has gone too high. I wonder why that is. So I've said all that about, and we're going to take that back to low idle. Why did our ITT overheat? I'm going to just click the master warning there to kill those. Okay, so I didn't know that was possible for that to happen in Flight Simulator. So we have had a so ignition to auto. Let's just check that. Now in the real world, now we'd have to get the engine looked at, but we're not going to do that. Now we're going to try again with another engine start. So we're looking for NG to 13%, then we'll move the throttle cutoff to idle. And then we're going to watch our ITT again here, and it's going to tell us, hopefully it's not going to go. I think I had the throttle lever pushed forward last time, and I think that's why I messed up the engine start, so sorry about that. The ITT is going forward. It's going up to 870 again, and it's over ITTing again. What on earth? Okay, so I don't really know why we had that problem there with the ITT. As I say, in real world flying, now we would have to shut the engine down. We would have to go and get maintenance to overhaul the engine because that would be a hot start. But we have a prop RPM problem as well. It's sitting at 510 and it's What is wrong with the prop RPM? Have we done... There's something we've not done here. And I think that may be our problem. That may be why we were struggling with the start. But I can't see any reason that we're having a problem with a proper RPM. We still have a prop issue, but if I push the engine forward, I'm just going to see if the prop comes up to the correct prop RPM. So that's okay. So it doesn't appear like there's any problem with our aircraft at this point in time. So I think we're going to carry on, because as I say, this is a simulator, it doesn't matter. So oil pressure temp checked, automatic starter has gone off, and after engine start, throttle low idle to flight idle. We are in the flight idle mode now, and we want to go pick that item. Oil pressure check, boost pump to auto, we've done that. Fuel select to auto, we've done that. Fuel shift button test, we haven't done that. We've done that. Autopilot and trims to on. Generator to main. Generator is in main. And bleed to auto, max diff. Where is that? Lead to auto. Tick item, and before taxi, inertial separator is on. Flight controls checked. Well, I need to go outside to do that, so I'll just check that we have. We don't appear to have flight controls, so that's interesting. We have rudders. No. Okay. Not doing very well today. We have movement, but we can't see it outside, so I'm hoping that's just some anomaly of flight sim. Flaps are up. Throttle feather it twice. So I think that's feathering there. And we're back to normal again. And then we need taxi lights on. I'm going to just get rid of this here. Taxi lights are on. And park brake we're going to release. Where is the park brake on this aircraft? It is here. Park brakes are off. Battery lights on. I'm going to put the pitot heaters on as well. I don't need any of those at this point in time. I'm going to reset my position, and I'm going to just raise my position up a bit, because in most of these aircraft you can kind of see over the glide slope, the glide slope. You can kind of see over the glare shield like that. So to be sat down below the glare shield is a little bit unrealistic most of the time. And we've got the inertial separator on, that's fine, it'll give us a warning about that until after takeoff. So let's just pop down here as well to our we should be able to set the range of our display here. Let's just find that. We already have a route, but how do we get a range? I would like to see a range slope more zoomed in for takeoff. speed books, PFD settings, PFD, FD, map settings, range, there we go. So we can just zoom in there and see the runways for takeoff. And we'll see what we're given as a takeoff clearance. So let's try and get that now. So we go to air traffic control, and we've had our flight plan cancelled, so that's great. So let's go to request clearance. Let's try and get our clearance.
Clearance delivery Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha ready to copy IFR clearance to OPA Locka. Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha is cleared to OPA Locka Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 14 climb and maintain 13,000.
Take up 14.
Departure frequency is 125.7.
And we're going to go to 13,000. So we're going to read back that.
Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha cleared to OPA Locka Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 14 climb and maintain 13,000 feet.
So we're just going to set 13,000 feet. If you have a look here on the PFD, you can see that we're going to get 13,000 feet straight away after takeoff, which is nice. So a bit of a long time to just get that going. 13,000, there we go. So 13,000 is set, and it's asking me to take ground taxi. I'm just going to pop over to ATIS, which is the automated terminal information services.
Wind 156 at 12. Visibility tree. Sky condition few clouds at 1,200 feet. Few clouds at 4,300 feet. Few
I
clouds
just want the
at
barometric
12,500
pressure.
feet. Temperature 27. 2.10. Altimeter tree 0.02. ILS runway 14 in use.
Okay, so 3002 is my barometric pressure, which I've set. That's what I wanted. I'm now on the ground, so we rest ISR taxi.
Ground Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha with Charlie ready to taxi IFR. Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha taxi to and hold short of runway 14.
So 14 as suspected.
Contact tower on
We'll read this back and then we'll get going on our taxi.
Taxiing hold short runway 14.
Okay, so basically to get to 14, we're going to taxi to the right and out of here and along the taxiway, and to 14 is not a very long taxi. Parking brake is off, so we're free to put a bit of power on, and we're going to turn immediately to the right to avoid hitting our man on his little there we go. And there's I can't see any obvious taxiway markings here, so I'm just going to pop to this one, follow this yellow line over here, and hopefully that will all be fine. And we're going to hold short of runway 14. Just an important note in real aviation, but particularly in Flight Simulator, just take note of hold short instructions, because often in Flight Sim, almost always in Flight Sim, you're cleared to hold short of the runway, and if you don't hold short of the runway, you will often not be given your takeoff clearance until you're back. It's expecting you to be at that spot holding short of the runway. So it's always a good idea to try to just listen out for those instructions and take note of those instructions. So we're on our way to the runway, and just looking inside the aircraft now, we can see that we have 13,000 set, which is our initial cleared altitude. So when we take off, we'll do a fly ahead, we'll turn, we'll pick up our IFR route, and we'll climb to 13,000. They may give us vectors out of here. Just need to set our flaps for takeoff. There we go. And there's a light weirdly in the middle of the taxiway there. Strange little bug. And again, as I say, for realism, We don't want to be too zoomed out in our shot either. In reality, this is kind of the view that you would see in an aircraft like this, sitting at the position you would be sitting. So you want to kind of have this same view in Flight Simulator. It makes it a lot easier on the landings to do stuff when you've got the kind of realistic view. And now we're coming up, you can see the yellow hold short line, so we're just going to hold short at that line. I'm using rudder pedals here with toe braking, which makes it much more realistic, and we should now be able to ask for the tower. So there's the tower, request takeoff clearance, IFR.
Nassau Tower, Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha at runway 14 ready for takeoff, IFR to Opa Locka. Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha cleared for takeoff, runway 14.
Okay, so we're cleared to take off. That means we can line up now and just go. So we're going to just pop that down there, give a little bit of power, and find some lights. So we need our strobes, nav, pulse, and we're going to pop our taxi lights to landing because we're entering the runway and we've got clearance to take off. So again, in commercial aviation, generally, not always, people don't always follow these same rules, but generally put your strobe lights on whenever you're entering the runway. So you wouldn't have your strobe lights on when you were just taxiing around the airfield, but as you are entering the runway to line up, you would pop your strobes on, and once given takeoff clearance, then pop the taxi lights to landing, pop the landing lights on. And we're just going to line up here, just overshot our line up a little bit, nice big runway. And once we are lined up, we'll just pop it on the toe brakes and we'll just lift our throttle. So I'm just lifting the throttle there to about halfway. You can see the prop is accelerating and the torque is rising. So looking pretty good. And now I'm going to move the throttle up and just set takeoff power. What we don't want is our prop or our torque to go above the red line for takeoff. So we're looking about 1950. There we go. So we've got green prop and green torque for takeoff, and we're just about 100 knots, and off we go. There we go. A little bit of trim just to bring the nose up a bit. There we are. And we'll pop our landing gear up. And there's a lot of power in this aircraft. It's got a turbine engine, so there's certainly no problem climbing at a reasonable speed. Look at that, fantastic, doesn't it look fabulous?
Daher Golf Sierra Alpha contact Nassau Center on 125.7.
So it's asking us to hand off to Nassau Center.
Going to
we'll do that now.
125.7 Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
And we're just going to fly manually for a little bit of time. And we're going to hit a waypoint here now, as you'll see, and then it will want us to make a turn. I'm going to turn anyway because it hasn't asked me to do anything differently. So I'm going to try and just keep on 10 degrees there. Let my airspeed come up, and I'm going to lose my flaps. And I'll definitely have to retrim now once I lose the flaps. There's a definite the difference that flaps make in Flight Simulator is very well controlled, and I'm just going to bring myself up to about 3,000 feet per minute here with the climb. I'm also going to need, I'm going to go back over the airfield. There we go. So I'm going to pop the autopilot on now and the yaw damper on, and we're going to pop the autopilot in no lateral mode at the moment, but vertically we're going to go vertical speed mode, and I'm just going to set the vertical speed to about 3,000 feet per minute, and we'll let the aircraft climb at 3,000 feet per minute, and then we'll look to do a speed hold when we get the speed to about 140 there on the speed tape. We'll climb at 140 after that point. No climbing fast because this is a small aircraft with a lot of power. So let's just zoom out on the map now. and we can see we're not going in the right direction, so we're going to go in heading mode, and we'll just get a heading that will bring us round. Oh, I've zoomed out now. The zoom and the doing the buttons and the zoom is one of the most annoying things at the moment, in my opinion. We're just going to go round to 330, which will get us back on a heading to pick up our track. But all the time climbing towards 13,000 feet. There we are outside. Quite a steep climb there we've got going on. And weirdly, it does seem to make a big change. It makes the aircraft go funny when you go from inside to outside. So we're on 330. We're just going to again adjust our heading bug to give us to let us bring it towards there. And then what I'm going to do then is just down here. So it says active nav. I'm going to change active nav to FMS, and now I can see the FMS course that I need to pick up. And I'm just going to fly an intercept course to that active nav course. So there we go. Just move that over a little bit more so we can intercept a little bit more. Nassau Centre, we should have tuned Nassau Centre. Nassau Centre.
Nassau Centre, Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha is climbing through 8,500 feet for 13,000 feet. Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Nassau Centre continue to carry as planned.
They're giving us. So it's telling us to continue to carry as planned. We don't need to request a vector to next waypoint. We've got our waypoint on the screen. It's not told us to go direct, in which case we would have gone direct to carry. It's told us to continue as planned. So based on this being our plan, we'll intercept this route as it is on the navigation display. And as you see, we are in an IFR flight mode, so we can at any point, it said at the bottom. Now, sorry, I'm just getting close to intercepting. I'm going to just pop on nav mode, and the aircraft will just intercept the purple line. And we're nearly at 140 knots. So as I say, when we reach 140 knots here, as our speed comes down to 140, I'm going to engage speed hold mode, and then the aircraft will continue to climb as best it can while holding 140 knots. So I'm going to do that now, so change speed hold mode. Should do that. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to do... Where's speed hold? Well, we're nearly at 13,000 feet now, so it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference. So what we'll do now is, as the aircraft arrives 13,000 feet, which is our planned cruising altitude, our planned initial cleared altitude, we'll just hang on, and we should hopefully get further.
Sierra Alpha climb and maintain 16,000 feet.
So there you go, we had climbed there to 16,000 feet, so we'll just lift our cleared speed to 16,000, and we'll just flight level change mode. And we'll just decrease our airspeed to 140 knots for the rest of the climb. So basically the aircraft will climb in the best way that it can while keeping the engine will stay at the right setting that we've got it at now, and then the aircraft will climb at 140 knots. I'm just going to knock back the prop RPM now to about 1900. So if we just look down here, we can see torque and prop RPMs at 2000, so I'm just going to pull the torque back. Pull the throttle back, should let us bring our prop RPM back. No, it's not, so I'm going to keep the torque up there at 90. So in the TBM 850, which I'm a bit more used to flying, you can bring the prop lever back and reduce the prop speed once you get to put a torque at 90 for now. and we'll just see how we do with speed. We may need to reduce the throttle later on, but there doesn't seem to be a way to bring the prop speed back on this aircraft, at least not that I'm aware of, so we'll have to fix the prop speed at 2000 and we'll continue to fly. So now if we zoom out a little bit more, oh yeah, we can see our route now. We're leaving Nassau Airport's control area. We're in Nassau Centre's control area still, and we'll leave that and we'll probably enter Miami control area.
700 climb and maintain 10,300 feet.
So we're now at 15,000 feet, 16,000 feet. We're still on barometric pressure setting because flying around in America, around America and the Bahamas, the pressure doesn't change until 18,000 feet. So we don't adjust our barometric pressure at all. And now we can get rid of our taxi lights and our landing lights. We'll leave our pulse nav and strobe lights on. Don't think there's anything else that we need to change, but we will just consult our checklist because again I'm not particularly familiar with this aircraft. So let's bring the checklist down, we'll tick our items and we'll do before lineup. We'll come after that. We've done that. After takeoff, proper RPM is in the green. Yeah, we've got that. Brakes are released. Torque is 100%. Well, we aren't at 100%, but we're fine. We're with takeoff. Rotation speed 10 degrees up. We've done that, and we've done that. So after takeoff, gear up. We've checked. Flaps are up, and our torque of max of 100%. We don't need 100% torque at the moment. We're just going to keep the torque at 90%. DI system we don't require, and we can turn the inertial separator off. So just for anyone who's interested, the inertial separator is a device in the engine air intake that stops the air intake. It basically, anything that goes into the air intake like a stone would fall through the inertial separator and not be dragged into the engine. And it's there on these aircraft because the air intake is quite low. So we can see now we have our torque has just gone up above 100. I'm just going to pull it back down. That's probably because of us taking off the inertial separator and then more air coming into the engine. So I'm just going to bring the torque back to 90% where we had it before. Quite hard in flight sim to be accurate with these controls, particularly if you've not got particularly great throttle controls, which this yoke I'm using doesn't have. So about 90, that'll do for us. Should keep us around 230 knots there. We've got a true airspeed here of nearly 300 knots, which is excellent for a small single-engined aircraft. So max 100% torque, DI system we don't require, inertial separator is off, altimeter settings are checked, altimeter setting is checked, autopilot we have on, fuel gauges we're good with fuel, won't have any problems today, and all of this is good. So now we're just doing approach and before descent checklist. So we'll pop this off for now. See some other islands down there in the Bahamas. Beautiful place to fly. I've been flying the Cessna Caravan around quite a lot in the Bahamas recently, and this is my next thing is now to fly a bit of the TBM 940 around in Florida. So we're going to transition over to Miami Opa Locka Executive Airport today, and then we're going to be doing a few flights out of Miami and up to other areas in Florida with the TBM, maybe the Caravan as well, maybe a few other aircraft, having a look at some of the sites, maybe fly up to Cape Canaveral, Disney World, places like that. So if we just have a look down here while we're waiting and while we're sitting in the cruise, and have a look on our display here, Garmin G3000 series. Basically all the information that we need to know about the aircraft is given to us on these two displays. That's not me. So we have our engine information here, cabin pressurization information, oil, fuel information, and then our electrical trim of the aircraft and flaps details. And of course we have our route, which is showing us various different things, airspace, transitions, and our route today, and other bits and bobs. And then down here we have the control panels for these different things. So we said earlier about how if they had given us clearance to go direct to Carey, then we could have gone direct to here and selected a waypoint. I don't seem to have any waypoints there, so that's interesting. I wonder if that is not available at the moment in Flight Simulator flight plan. Yeah, it doesn't actually have an active... Ah, there we go. Yeah, so now it's picked up our flight plan. So now we do have an active flight plan. And interestingly, you can build your flight plan yourself in any of these aircraft. You don't want to do it in the screen at the start. Just jump into the aircraft and do your own flight plan in the system as you would in a normal aircraft. So I think now if we choose direct to... No, we still can't get... There's we can't get a direct to ZBV, for example, which is strange, really. I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's because it's part of a procedure. So if we choose procedure and we choose arrival, then we can choose a different arrival. Yeah, we should be able to choose a different arrival procedure there. But it's fairly well modelled. It's not perfect. None of this is exactly like the real thing. It's close, but it's not absolutely correct. Should have put the speed bugs on, but we'll have our approach speed bug on anyway. Making a big turn now, as you can see, to intercept the route again at Carey. So we're turning here and heading towards Florida. So we'd intercepted at Carey and now we're heading toward ZBV. And if we have a look in the map display here, we can see that we've got an estimated time of 11 minutes 30, track of 284, ground speed is 290 knots, bearing is 280, our distance to run to ZBV is 190, and our ATA is 104. So it's asking us to contact Miami Center now.
134.2 for Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
So we'll tune Miami Center and we'll contact Miami Center.
Miami Center, Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha 16,000 feet. Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Miami Center, continue as planned. Altimeter tree 0.0 tree.
So Miami Center's telling us to continue our IFR flight plan as planned, which we're going to, and I'm just going to close that up again. So to continue flying from Carey to ZBV, following our planned route, which we are at our planned altitude of 16,000 feet, which we have, and it's also given us, as you noticed, a barometric pressure reading there, 30.03, because we're still governed by the barometric pressure reading under 18,000 feet. What I probably should have done was plan this flight at 19,000 feet, and then we could have gone to standard barometric pressure and back to adjustable barometric pressure as we went above and below 18,000 feet. I'll do that next time. The 930 will climb up to 30,000 feet, so we can fly very fast and very high, which helps a lot for doing long distance journey. Of course the fuel burn is lower at the higher altitude, So if we were going a long way today, we probably could have gone a lot higher today with this route, but I thought 16,000 seemed like a reasonable height. This is the quiet part of Flight Simulator, the quiet part of any airline or commercial flight or private flight operation really. Once you're in the cruise and the aircraft is set up and nice and everything's stable, then sit back and relax a little bit, ready for the next busy stage of flight. Of course, the important thing is not to go off guard at all. Even though the autopilot's on, we're still responsible for the aircraft, so I'm still monitoring whether something like a little bit of turbulence like that happens and throws you off. I want to see that the autopilot brings the aircraft back into line and it's still flying correctly at 16,000 feet, and it's still following its correct flight path. All of this is very important. We're watching the engine information as well, that it's not doing anything it shouldn't be doing, everything's green, everything's within parameters, and we're making sure that we adhere to everything. Is that us? Yes it is. No it isn't. JetBlue 1509, that's not us. So yeah, listening out for air traffic control. Listening to other people's messages on air traffic control as well is also important, partly because you don't miss yours, but also so you know what's going on in the area. You get some kind of idea of the traffic that's around and where it might be in relation to you, what it's doing and what else is going on. Also helpful sometimes when people report turbulence or bad weather. It's useful to hear those transmissions, get some idea of what's going on.
JetBlue 1509er, you are 13,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, JetBlue 1509er.
So there we go, we heard JetBlue is 1,000 feet or 10,000 feet above his assigned altitude. What did it say? 13,000 feet above your assigned altitude. A bit naughty, isn't it? Wonder why he's done that. He's probably not listened. Probably didn't take notice of air traffic control when he should have done. So yeah, he has to descend and maintain 10,000 feet. I'm assuming JetBlue is an AI aircraft, or I've got real traffic turned on, so it could be an actual real aircraft in real life. So you see, this might happen because the AI air traffic control in Flight Sim probably thinks that the JetBlue probably thinks that the aircraft should be lower than it should actually been cleared to in real life. So yeah.
125.7 JetBlue 1509er. Generic Alpha 71, you are 78 miles northwest. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect vectors, visual runway 11 approach.
So you can see that there is just in front of us there, you can see there's some kind of island down there. And then in the distance we can just about make out the coast of Florida. I think it's the coast of Florida. I'm pretty sure it is. After Decal we can pretty much come into Miami area.
Generic Alpha 71, you are 1,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet altimeter, tree 0.04. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, generic Alpha 71. Daher Golf Sierra Alpha, contact Miami Center on 123.775.
So we've been given a handoff again there to contact Miami Central 123.775.
Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
So we'll contact again.
Miami Center, Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha 16,000 feet. Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Miami Center, continue to Zulu Bravo Victor as planned. Altimeter tree 0.03.
So we're continuing to ZBV as planned. That's what we've been given so far. So now we can see now our final destination. So KOPF there on the Florida Miami coastline. Well, it's a little bit inland from the coast. We're going to go to ZBV, then Decal, then we're going to come into OPF. They're going to be giving us vectors, I would think, to the runway, and then we'll aim to do a manual approach and landing. If necessary, we will choose an ILS approach if we need to, but I don't think we will need to today for the weather. Once we get close to the field, we'll hopefully be able to see the runway, and then we can just perform a visual approach and landing. Now I have no idea what approach we're going to be given into Opa Locka, but on the basis that we might be given 27 right as we come in, I'm going to try and put the localizer for that in the ILS approach. So there we've got a descent clearance, so it's asking us to descend to 10,000 feet, we'll just acknowledge that. And I'm just going to change the... altitude on there, and I'm just going to choose flight level change mode, and I'm just going to bring the throttle back, and that will start us in a descent where the aircraft will try to keep the it's not selecting the downward descent. There we go. So the aircraft will try to maintain speed by keeping the so I'm just going to change my airspeed down to 200. 220 maybe. Basically the aircraft will be pitched down to try to, I'm going to bring the torque right back and we'll see what we get.
Landing gear. Landing gear.
And now that gives us way too much, so let's just pop the throttle back. We're expediting, we're going down pretty slow, pretty fast. We're down at nearly 4,000 feet per minute at the moment, so I'm just going to bring the throttle back up, and actually probably the easiest thing to do would have been to descend ourselves using just a vertical speed, but this way is often easier in terms of just getting the aircraft to do the descent for us. So I'm just going to click vertical speed there, and we'll just do vertical speed of about 2,000 feet per minute. 2,000 feet per minute. So give us a little bit more control there, and that'll let the speed just drop down as well a little bit. We don't come in too fast. I'm going to keep our speed around 200 for now until Miami control tells us otherwise. So nice descent there, 2,000 feet per minute, coming down there, speed around 200. Let it climb a little bit in the descent, because when we level out it'll drop and we'll just add in a bit of throttle. I think after decal we'll be given further descent and then an approach for the airport, which we can try and put into the system. As I say, I was just going to pop in the ILS for runway 27 right, in case that was the case. So that's 111.35. So if we just look down here, Navcom, and then if we go to where is nav, and we're just approaching 10,000 feet, so I'm just going to deal with that for a second now. So we'll need to add a little bit of throttle in to prevent our speed from coming down too much. Key the throttle there, hold us around 200 knots, and we'll hopefully get a little bit more descent now.
Generic 87 to you, archery 4 miles north. Climb
now, how do I get
expect vectors, visual runway 5 approach.
This is Navcom home. How do I get com?
Climb and maintain 7,900 feet. Expect vectors, visual runway
Nav
5
1,
approach.
here we go.
Generic 872.
Nav 1 frequency.
Sierra Alpha, you are 5 miles east.
And we're runway 9 right, so we'll come back to that in a second.
Vectors, visual runway 9 right approach.
And we've been given 9 right for a visual approach.
American 143, AQR
So I'm just gonna, I've got charts on my iPad, I'm just gonna have a look at that now. I don't have 9 right, let's find that, OPF.
American 143, descend and maintain 2,000
9
feet.
right. 9 right. Where is 9 right? 9 left.
Descend and maintain 2,000 feet. Expect vectors, visual runway 26 right. Approach American 143.8.
There isn't a chart for 9 right. Well, that's a shame. Okay, so we're going to acknowledge 9 right. There's no ILS to put in.
Altitude. Expect vectors, visual runway 9 right. Approach Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
I can see the runway on the chart. It's 4,000 feet long, so that's absolutely fine. It's 9 right, and the runway heading is 993.8.
125.75 for American 14.
Now we'll just do the visual approach as they've asked us to, and we won't put in an ILS at all.
Generic 7 Juliet Sierra climb and maintain 10,000 feet.
So no further descent at this point.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Generic 7 Juliet Sierra.
So we're maintaining present heading and altitude. That's taken us directly towards the airport, as we can see on our map display down here. And if I just exit from here, so where's back to PFD, and I go to PFD here, MFD, then I should be able to just adjust the range again to get us in. Now I can just adjust the pan, there we go.
Daher Golf Sierra Alpha, contact Miami approach on 128.6.
So it's given us another handoff to 128.6.
Going to 128.6 Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
Achieve Miami approach and make contact.
Miami approach Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 10,000 feet. Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha Miami approach, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.02.
3002, and we're continuing as planned. There we go. So it's a little bit busy in the sky.
Sierra Alpha, contact Miami Center on 123.775. 123.775 for Daher Golf Sierra Alpha. Miami Center, Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 10,000 feet. Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha Miami Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.03.
Little bit of
Daher Golf Sierra Alpha, contact Miami approach.
it's handing us backwards and forwards between the same two things. Unfortunately here, this is something that used to happen in Flight Simulator before. We're on the border of Miami approach, Miami Centre, and they're just passing us backwards and forwards.
Miami approach Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha.
But we definitely need some descent soon.
Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha Miami approach, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.02.
If we have a look down here to our...
Sierra Alpha, contact Miami Center on
Oh, for goodness sake.
123.775.
It's just going to keep passing us backwards and forwards. So we can see some buildings down there on the Miami coast. That looks good. It's nice. We're quite high still. I would normally, coming into Opa Locka, I'd be a lot lower than this earlier. So we'll see if we can request some descent.
Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha Miami Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.03. JetBlue 21, you are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Daher Golf Sierra Alpha, contact Miami approach on 128.6.
This is quite frustrating.
Going to 128.6.
So if we can't get resolution of this on the IFR in a second. We'll cancel our IFR flight plan and we'll land manually in the VFR because of VFR conditions.
Sierra Alpha 10,000 feet. Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf.
We're going to pass over the airfield shortly, which may be what they want us to do. In the meantime, we're missing seeing Miami.
Daher Golf Sierra Alpha descend and maintain 2,000 feet.
There we go, finally we've got some descent. Acknowledge instruction,
Descend
and we're going to drop our...
feet Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
Down there, I'm going to choose vertical speed mode and I'm going to take us down to 2,000 feet per minute.
Daher Golf
And I'm
Sierra
going to
Alpha
bring this
contact
right
Miami
down.
Center on 123.775.
2,000 set. And we're handing off again.
Going to 123.775 Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
And we're going to come down faster than for that. I think I'm going to just bring my vertical speed down to 2,500 feet. And we'll just bring our
Landing gear. Landing gear.
So yeah, I mean the graphics in Flight Simulator are fantastic, as you can see. To have this level of detail straight from real Earth maps in Flight Simulator from day one, so when you first buy it, to have this in the simulator without having to buy loads of add-ons, and we have this for the whole world. And realistically, the quality of the graphics as we come into land and when we're around the airport is as good, if not better. I think probably better than any of the add-ons that were previously available. Now certainly, I mean, as I say, to have this from scratch without having to spend a lot of money on add-ons is absolutely fantastic. See some towns and neighbourhoods there. Looks beautiful. Fabulous. Got some nice little lakes. Never really noticed that before, Miami. And so what they're doing is bringing us across the airport, then they're going to turn us around and back into the airport to visually land on 9 right. So that is why we've been brought over the top at 10,000 feet and then told to descend. So slightly longer flight than we had planned, because I had kind of thought they'd bring us in over the beach and onto 27 right or 27 left. But hey ho, gives us a chance to see some other bits of scenery that we wouldn't have seen otherwise. I like the touch of the cars on the motorway. Again, I think that with the quality of the scenery, having the cars on the motorway as well, on the freeway, highway, whatever you want to call it, works very well. So we're coming towards, we've got just under 1,000 feet to go to reach 2,000 feet, and then I'll just have to keep my eye on the airspeed. Then we'll bring the airspeed back to about 150 knots, and then we'll probably be turned round into the aircraft, into the airfield approach. I think we've got to hand off there as well.
Miami approach Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha in 2,000.
So we'll just let the airspeed bleed back, and then we'll increase the throttle.
X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha Miami approach continue as planned. Altimeter 30.02.
So now we need to come back round to the airport. So this is a little annoying, because we're stuck out here and they're not turning us. They're giving us a very long approach into the runway, which is not really necessarily what we want. But it would have been much better to cancel the IFR and do a visual approach. Would have been a lot quicker. I'm going to request a vector and see what we get.
Miami approach Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha requesting vector to next waypoint. Daher Golf Sierra Alpha turn left heading 235.
So we've got a left turn to heading 23. Ah, it's flipping zoom. And I should have selected the heading there before I pressed heading select. So left to 235.
Daher Golf Sierra Alpha acknowledge last transmission.
And we'll, sorry, didn't acknowledge, there we go.
Turn left heading 235 Daher Golf Sierra Alpha. Miami approach Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf.
So
Sierra
I think a
Alpha,
lot to
requesting
be
vector
said
to next
about the,
waypoint.
a lot to be improved about the.
Daher Golf Sierra Alpha turn left heading 235.
We turn left at 235.
Turn left heading 235 Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
So a lot of improvement could be had in the air traffic control, I think it's safe to say. And definitely in the switching between inside and outside and what it does to the aircraft. Come on. This is giving me a very long, wide approach, which is not necessarily what I want, really. Just realised I hadn't set the baro on the standby display there, so I've just done that now. This is very long-winded and slow. Come on. Giving me far too long of a... taking me out 12 miles away from the airport. There's really no need for this. I could have done a very tight turn in to a visual approach and landed. So yeah, a lot to be said for the air traffic control. I think that's something that we've learnt today. It's alright, but it's not like real world. So definitely needs to be some improvement. There's no real need for me to be out here doing this. Even though Miami traffic is probably very busy, I'm sure they could have got me down sooner and given me a slot in to the traffic nearer, looking at the amount of traffic that there is on the display. I'm going to ask for a vector again, and soon
Miami
I'm going to
approach
just
Daher Alpha
cancel.
Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha requesting vector to next waypoint. Daher Golf Sierra Alpha turn left heading 235.
It's just telling me exactly the same information again.
Turn left heading 235 Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
So I'm going to make my own decision now to go. This is completely not legal, and if you were flying IFR in the real world, you would have invalidated your IFR clearance. But I'm going to make my own turn now away and see what that does. I want to see what happens, what they request of me. Then make a 90-degree turn around, and I'm going to turn around back towards the airport. And they've said nothing. the runway, the airport is over here somewhere. There, I think, maybe. Maybe just blocked by my column here. And I'm going to turn again, because may as well, towards 90 degrees, see if we can see the airport. I'm going to drop my speed as well, so just going to bring the speed down to 120 knots. And we're 10 miles out. We're going to drop the flaps down. One flaps. That's going to enable us to reduce our speed to about 115 knots. I think it's taking me past the airport, which is a little bit annoying. I think that's the airport there that I can see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cancel IFR.
Miami approach Daher Golf Sierra Alpha would like to cancel IFR.
Reduce to 1,000
Daher
feet.
Golf Sierra Alpha IFR flight plan is cancelled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Maintain VFR.
I'm going to find the airport, Opa Locka Executive, Opa Locka Tower, and we're going to request full stop landing.
OPA Locka Tower Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha is 900 miles southwest with Echo to land. Daher Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha OPA Locka Tower. Make straight in runway 9er right.
So straight in for 9er right.
Make straight in runway 9er right, Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
So again, great, absolutely great ground detail here. The nearer you get to it, the better the quality improves. So sometimes it does look a little bit weird, but generally, I mean, generally for the kind of simulator flying that we're doing, this is great. And I've just got to keep my eye out for the airport. I can see a flashing light over there, so I'm feeling that's the airfield.
Daher Golf Sierra Alpha cleared to land runway 9er right.
And we cleared to land 9er right. And keep our speed up a little bit for now. Great outside.
Did you hear my last transmission?
Oh, I certainly did, and I forgot to acknowledge your landing clearance.
Cleared to land runway 9er right, Daher Golf
It's a long
Sierra
liner
Alpha.
right. We still can't quite see the runway. If I just go over here again and just adjust my... think we're just coming towards it, but we're a little bit off, so I'm going to change my heading a little bit this way. And we're going a little bit too fast. Right, there's a runway there. So this is 9 right here, so we're going to go flaps down,
Landing gear.
landing gear down, and autopilot off, and that's our runway there. We can just descend a little bit, and we want 85 knots approach speed. So now we just do a nice visual landing on 9 right. Gear is down. 2 reds, 2 greens, 2 reds, 2 whites on the pappies. So that's a good approach speed, a good approach angle rather. Just line ourselves up. There's no wind today, so there's no crab really. And we're just dropping below our approach speed, so we'll just pop a little bit more power in there. And just coming down, down, and we'll just lose power there. Lovely, lovely does it, there we go. That's my first landing in the TBM 930 in 940 in FS2020. So quite pleased with that. We are able now to exit the runway. Just past the hold short line. And it's asking us to contact Opa Locka ground. So we'll just come to a stop on the other side of the hold short line. And we will take care of that.
120.025 for Daher Golf Sierra Alpha.
Request taxi to parking.
OPA Locka ground Daher Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha taxi to parking. 120.025 for Daher Golf Sierra Alpha. General aviation parking via taxiway Delta cross runway 30 Delta Golf.
Via taxiway D to cross runway 30.
Taxiing to general aviation parking using taxiway Delta cross
So
runway 30
Delta is this
Delta
one
Golf,
here, I
Daher
think.
Golf Sierra Alpha.
We're on G, so we should go of, really it should have been G via Yankee to D, so that's where we're going anyway. That's where he's told us to go. Flaps up, get a bit of power, and off we go. We have to go on Yankee, which is this one, to get to D, so I'm taking that as what he's supposedly told us to do. I'm using the 4Flight app on my iPad, which is what I'm using, so I can see the things. And we didn't put our landing lights on there, that was naughty of us. It all went a bit wild though on the way in. We can kill the trims and the autopilot now. Oh, and it's all gone a bit fast here. So this is taxiway D. So we will, your jumper off. We'll turn on to taxiway D. And now we're going to cross runway 30. I'm just going to hold here. We don't need to ask for permission to cross. Is anything happening? Nothing that I can see there. Nothing that I can see the other way. So we're just going to cross. Cross as quickly as we can. And I think that's asking me to go to general aviation parking. I'm not sure where that is. So I'm just going to go this way. I'm sure there'll be somewhere to park over here. I can see some aircraft. Well, I hope you've enjoyed flying with me today. This has been my first flight in Flight Simulator 2020 with the TBM 940. I have not really flown the TBM 940 before, flown the TBM 930 before, but it seems to be reasonably similar. Be interesting to see next time whether I have the same problem with the ITT overheating, but nothing didn't seem to cause us a problem for the rest of our flight, so that's okay. And yes, we did a general good look at how everything works in Flight Simulator with regard to air traffic control and flying an IFR flight point to point. So I hope you've enjoyed this flight today from Nassau in the Bahamas to Opa Locka here in Florida. I'm going to sign off now and park the aircraft up and off and get something to eat. Thanks very much. Please like and subscribe the video if you've made it this far to the end, and join me soon to fly again with another aircraft, or maybe possibly even the same one. We'll see. Thanks very much, and Two Shot Cowboy is out.